Hello everybody, welcome back to Sin City Living. This is Jason bringing you today's video. As always guys, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. This will be a little bit of a shorter video. Once again, thank you very much for sending me an email. I haven't gotten a whole lot of emails lately from people, so please send us these emails, strategies. We love to show strategies to you guys, and strategies that are sent to us, or just questions, any games you'd like to see. We did UTH not too long ago. I know we've done Pai-Gow and Baccarat in the past, although we'd certainly be willing to expand on those some. But any game, letter write poker, anything you want to see, let us know. We'll pull it off for you guys. Between the three of us, we can deal anything, so we can show you anything. And otherwise, like I said, we'd love to shoot these videos for you guys. So please keep sending us these emails. So this one might be a little bit of a quicker email. It's just 2 questions, 2.5 questions. So this comes from Mark, and Mark has a couple pretty interesting questions. The first one I actually had to ask around because I had forgotten about this. This particular thing. So his first question is, in my years as a crap dealer, how many times have I seen someone try and bring in counterfeit chips to the table? What does the casino do when this happens? So it's a multi-answer question. How many times have I seen someone bring up counterfeit chips of the location that we are working at? I don't know, because if they've ever done it and it's managed to pass, well, then I wouldn't know. But I do know that counterfeit chips is something. The counterfeit chips in the actual casino you work at, people like, someone going to say Bellagio with counterfeit Bellagio chips, highly unlikely. As far as what they would do about it, I honestly don't know. It would probably depend on the denomination of the chips. Obviously it's an arrestable offense, and we've actually shot videos. We've actually done some of our true crime videos about people that counterfeited checks, so you can look for those videos. They're very interesting stories. The other one would be faking checks and bringing them to a different casino. For instance, using my Bellagio example, go to the Bellagio with counterfeit Circus chips and trying to use them, because some casinos will do what we call foreign checks, chips from other casinos. Now, this gets kind of interesting because there's been a big crackdown on that kind of stuff. We don't really encourage it. So now, more often than not, when people come up with foreign checks, even if they're affiliated, for instance, let's say you are at Park MGM and someone comes in with MGM Grand checks. That's affiliate. It's the same ownership. It's the same company, and they drop them down. They drop down an MGM Grand black chip and ask for change. They're more likely than not going to be told, "I'm sorry, we won't take that. You're going to have to go." At best now they may tell them, if you take it to the cage, they might be able to swap it out for you guys. What'll happen when you go to the cashier's cage, if the casino will take that particular foreign check, what'll happen when you go to the cashier's cage is they're going to take the check, they're going to call the casino whose checks that is, going to ask them if there's any flags on checks, because every so often a casino will let other casinos know, don't take any of our checks, which meant that maybe somebody's tried to do something shady, or somebody that stole or something along those lines, or they'll get the okay, but then they have a book. There's so much that they go through to make sure that the check is actually real. Almost every place I work at, we don't take foreign checks. If someone comes up with foreign checks, we say, no, sorry, we don't take it. You could try the cage, but they're probably going to tell you the same thing. You're going to have to go back to the casino that you got these from. There's one interesting situation that I have seen. A player, I didn't personally see this, but I worked there, and it was on a different shift than me, but I remember the outcome. So a player came up with with a few black checks, foreign checks. This is years ago, and asked if they take them, and the boxman that was sitting there said yes, and told them to go ahead and give them 200 or 300 in green and red. The thing is, he never even looked at them. He didn't even look at them, because they're like this check. They didn't have a casino's name on it at all, and real checks have the casino's name on it, along with a lot of other security things that most people are not aware of. Also, if he'd have flipped the checks over and looked at the back of them, he would have noticed they said, "Welcome to Las Vegas." And they just didn't feel right. So he didn't even look at them at all. As far as what the casino did, well, they fired that person. There was absolutely zero hesitation on that. Now, the second question from Mark is, what is the role of the person that is sitting in the chair opposite the stick? Basically, the box person. What is their role? That person is a supervisor. They are a suit. They are in the same position as when you're playing blackjack and you see that suit that's walking around behind the tables. Same position, same level. They are a supervisor. They are the supervisor. They are what's called the box person, and they are in charge of this game. Every so often, you might see a dealer sitting there. Some places that will use dealers as box people, but while that dealer is sitting in that spot, they have the authority of a supervisor of the suit. They are in charge of the table. They are in charge of that table. They are in charge of that game. The box person runs the whole game. They are in charge of every aspect of the game, of that particular table. The box person will always win. Now, the box person is the one that will settle disputes. It's their responsibility to watch everything. Even though every single roll, they have one spot they're supposed to be watching versus, the stick watching the other spot to make sure payouts are correct. In reality, the box person is responsible for both sides of the table. They're responsible for the dealers to be doing their jobs. They're responsible for the flow of the game to keep going. A good box person will make sure that they will speed up the game if it starts going too slow. Will slow the game down if the dealers are running over people, and find that happy medium. Make sure the game is flowing at an acceptable pace, and be in charge of every single aspect of the game, from the players' cards to the players' ratings to the dealers' payouts, booking their bets, dealers' procedures, how fast the game is going. They'll verify the dice when they go off the table before the dice go back into play, and they'll also be the ones that will manage any disputes, and fix any issues, fix any problems. Remove a dealer, haven't seen that happen very often. Remove a player, I've seen that happen way too often at local casinos. Once you get past the local casinos, I can't off the top of my head recall a time that a player has been removed from the craps table that I've seen. I know it happens. It's just much less likely. Honestly, when you get to a place, when you're looking at a local casino where you'll find $5 or $10 tables, versus a place where the lowest table is $25 or $50, it's just a whole different environment, and much less likely to have the type of player that ends up being kicked out of the casino or kicked off the table. But that is also the box person's responsibility, not only to make sure the dealers are doing their job, but also to make sure the dealers are being treated properly, and make sure the players are being treated properly. Final part of this question, that's why I said 2.5 questions, is what does the pit boss do? Now, this is interesting because a lot of people don't quite understand what pit boss means. They think that every suit is a pit boss, and that is not true at all. Now, not every casino has pit bosses. A lot of casinos have gotten rid of the pit boss position. But it used to be that for every pit, you would have your floor supervisors that would be in charge of either a section or a table if it's craps, or a section of 4 to 6 tables if it's one of the table games. And then there would also be a pit boss that was in charge of those floor supervisors. And there were just tiers to their levels and to their responsibilities depending on where you went. Some places have completely gotten rid of the pit boss entirely. Now they just have floor supervisors and then the shift supervisor that was the next level up from the pit boss to deal with some of these issues. Others have just trimmed it down, so instead of having 6 or 7 pit bosses for your 6 or 7 pits, you just have one that runs all the pits, which would basically be a shift supervisor, except the shift also runs the entire casino. And the responsibilities are just slightly different. They just have more responsibilities, more elevated responsibilities. Some places, the floors manage their tables, manage their sections, manage the players' cards, the players' ratings, all that stuff. We'll do the markers. Other places, only the pit boss will do the markers. Places where the floors do the markers, they might need a pit boss to do, say, comps. If they do comps, some places nobody in the pit can do comps. They have to go to a host. A lot of places have gone to that where only a host can do comps. But old school, pit bosses would do comps. Even floors could do comps in some places. So it's just the next level up of responsibility. But honestly, as a player, very rarely are you going to be able to tell that you're dealing with a pit boss, or that a person is a pit boss versus a floor supervisor. Very, very rarely, assuming they even have them. So thank you, Mark, for the questions. We appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We will catch you guys next time. Bye now.